Couple of former Maple Leafs. Let's start with you, Mike Johnson. Where do they go from here? There are a plethora of options.
Yeah, so some interesting notes from that Dubas press conference. One is that he traditionally has looked for guys with term or guys that he could extend. Jake Muzzin, Jack Campbell, players of that ilk when making a trade. Alex Kerfoot. But they don't have the cap space, so they're looking at a rental. That is noteworthy. Also, Jimmy Vesey on waiver. He hasn't really fit in that great despite the 5 goals he has. He hasn't really solidified his line. And so they're looking to change maybe a top 6 winger spot or possibly a third-line center. Look at the names that are here. Pretty good players. Taylor Hall, Palmieri, Granlund, Holla, Stahl are options down the middle, depending which way they want to go. They have Joe Thornton up front, and Zach Hyman's had an amazing year, but they love him so much on the third line, there might be one more spot in the top 6, a spot that was originally filled by Jimmy Vesey. So, they like to slide Hyman down if they can, and if they can acquire a top 6 reader. And I think any of those guys would do well. They don't need a superstar. They probably don't need Taylor Hall. That's maybe being greedy. But they need a grinder, a defensively responsible player, and a guy with some skill who doesn't make too much money who can play in their top 6 reader. I think that's kind of what they're after.
Yeah, I agree with you, Johnny. And you look at the waiver, just because you're put on waivers doesn't mean that you are automatically off the team. Now, it's not fun being put on waivers. So the Leafs put Jason Spezza on waivers earlier in the year. He's already had a hat trick with the team. He still averages over 10 minutes a game, and he's one of their best right shot, big-time face-off guys. So Jimmy Vesey's on waivers with Simmons coming back, and even with Campbell back, there are going to be issues. Guys are going to have to be moved around in and out. And the only way to get around the cap space is to put a player on waivers, to move him off your roster for a few days in the American Hockey League roster, put him on the, not necessarily even on the AHL roster, but put him on the taxi squad. So I think that's the situation with Jimmy Vesey. I don't think the Leafs have given up on Jimmy Vesey. I just think that this is a situation that a few players are going to have to go through, may not like it, and Jimmy Vesey still may get picked up. And, Johnny, getting back to your point, I say that the Leafs are in need of another Zach Hyman, except look for a Finnish player to come in. If there was, and I look at guys like Esa Tikkanen and Jiri Lehtinen, who I play with in Dallas, that's the style of player that the Leafs are looking for. And the reason I say Finnish players, because Michael Granlund's a guy who was there, Erik Halla's a guy who was there. Like, you've got players of that ilk who are grinders, and I always say Zach Hyman reminds me of a Finnish guy. Hymanen could be Zach's name, because he is such a good player on this team. Every line he goes to, all of a sudden, seems to be the most effective line on the team. They don't always score, but the work ethic that he has just elevates him to be able to play anywhere, and that's the style of player the Leafs are looking for. They're not looking for another Joe Thornton, I would say, goal scorer. I think they need the meat and potatoes. They get Wayne Simmons back. They'll get him back soon. They can find another player up front like that. I think that's the player that they are going to be able to squeeze in. Although they are tight to the cap, Kyle Dubas did say that if it's there, they will figure the cap situation out. They will make it happen.
Johnny, what do you think about what he just said?
Also of note, Tone, when it comes to the timing for Kyle Dubas and what he might want to do. He's aware that there is the 14-day quarantine requirement coming into Canada, and he wants to get that over with as soon as possible so that player they acquire can play as many games as possible. And that factors into Vesey going on waivers, because if he clears waivers, then that allows Toronto the flexibility to send him up and down from the taxi squad for, I think, 7 or 8 games. So if it happens in the next 7 or 8 games, you have easy access to get a guy off the roster right away without having to wait on anything. So just to get a sense of the timing, that it may be sooner rather than later for Toronto.
Hey, timing is everything in life.
Johnny, I got a quick question for you. The rumors come out. I mean, we're both Toronto guys. We're both in the area. You're in Toronto. I'm in the area. Nick Foligno's name has come out as a possibility to Toronto. Have you heard about that one? I mean, that'd be a little hefty on the pay scale to fit in there, but he would be the style of player that Toronto's looking for. I don't know if Columbus is willing to let him go without a fight, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the dollars would be tough there. I mean, they'd have to probably trade Alex Kerfoot to get rid of Kerfoot's contract. He makes 3.5. I think Nick makes about 5. And I don't think his contract's expiring. So that will be harder to do. They love that kind of player. And who wouldn't want Foligno on your team? Like, either one of them. Give me either one of the Foligno brothers on my squad. Yes, it's been floated in the media, but I just don't know if it's as easy a deal to make despite an obvious fit on the ice.
That would be intriguing.
Interesting. That's some meat on